That Lakers brought to you by your Toyota dealer. To make it easy, Allie Clifton alongside James Worthy, Robert Ory, Mike Trudell. Where do you want to begin? What stood out to you?
You know, regardless of who they've been playing, I know some players have been out for Sacramento and they got beat by Phoenix. I think they've learned from that. They're starting to play with some, what I call like blend. Everyone's involved. As you mentioned, 34 assists. Anytime they're in that category, 25, 26 assists, the ball is popping, it's moving. You get guys like Luka Doncic involved. The bench was productive. And I just thought they did a pretty good job of sustaining it. I know Sacramento Kings they're limited right now, but they're getting some time on the floor together. And I think that's important for them right now as they move forward. But they took care of business, had fun, moving the basketball again. That's 2 in a row.
For me, I think when you play teams like this, you start to try stuff. And I was very proud that the Lakers didn't try stuff because they only had 9 turnovers. And that was huge to me because sometimes when you play opponents you know you're going to beat, you try different stuff and you turn the ball over. And that gives the other team momentum. So I was really proud that they came out, they took care of the basketball, they moved it properly, they got a lot of people involved, and more importantly, they was able to load management the right way.
The one thing I'd argue that they need to continue to try to do over the next 22 games is have the big three on the floor as much as possible together. Tonight was their 16th game because at the end of the day, after every game, you're going to look to the 3 of them. What did they do? Obviously, they combined tonight for 64, led by Luka's 28. But as we talked about last night, he was active. He had 12 and 5 assists in the first quarter. He had 8 of the team's 18 assists in the first half. But I think it just continued to get everyone empowered and involved. Yeah. It started with him, LeBron adding 24.
Yeah, I think that formula works for Luka. I mean, he can always get his points, but when he's getting people involved early, as you mentioned, 5 assists early in the game, that jump starts the team, you know, and it lets them know that he's sharing and he's looking and he's, you know, he's unselfish, and I think that spreads throughout the team. And then when he has to get his, he has no problem doing so. LeBron's playing a lot of bully ball too right now. He's using his size.
Because they have a rhythm. You know, a lot of times it's about the talent, but more important, it's about the rhythm. If you're able to play like one another, you know each other on the court at all times, and you do certain things, like the little things, to make the team better, like passing the ball when you had a shot, pass it to another shot that makes it a great shot. So the way they're playing as a team right now is, like, I'm going to use your favorite, trending the right way.
And it's not just with the starters, it's not with just the big 3, but then we can trend into the bench. Another 43 from them tonight, and it was led by Luka Doncic, and you know, we just heard Mike Trudell talking with Luke post-game, and there's one thing I want to point out about it. For him, 27 over the last 2 nights in the last 48 hours, 7 of 12 from deep. He's shooting 48%, big game, on the season from downtown. He has an opportunity to be just the 9th player to have a 50% shooting season from 3.
Yeah, I mean, as high his percentage is, he doesn't do it just by sitting out on the 3-point line. He gets those shots. He really moves well without the basketball. He'll get a backdoor cut for a layup. And so when you're that, you know, when you're that mobile, it keeps the defense wondering, is he going to cut? Is he going to, you know, set up and shoot the 3? And he does a good job of passing the ball off the dribble. So I think that's what makes him more effective.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of I think.
It also understands when you're a 3-point shooter, people are going to try to run you up the line. So I love the fact that sometimes he just catches and goes straight to the basket. A lot of 3-point shooters want to try to pump fake, sidestep, and still shoot a 3. He's not that type of guy. He'll pump fake and go to the rack. And then he'll keep his dribble alive, too, which a lot of guys will try to either get the layup or something. He'll keep his dribble alive, dribble back out, and throw it around and get an assist. So that's very important for guys not to just be one-dimensional. And he's not just a 3-point shooter. He's an active player, which makes it harder for the defense to guard him.
I think the final note for me, just to kind of take a step outside, look at it from big picture. Again, just 22 left on the season. You have 7 of your next 8 at home. So when you talk about stacking wins, we just looked at that previous homestand, 8-game homestand, where they were 4-4, and not many people happy with how that one ended. Where do you kind of take this in terms of making it consistent with the effort and just the production that you've been able to put forth of these last couple?
First thing I do is I remind.
Stacking wins. We just looked at that previous homestand, 8-game homestand, where they were 4-4, and not many people happy with how that one ended. Where do you kind of take this in terms of making it consistent with the effort and just the production that you've been able to put forth of these last couple?
First thing I do is I remind them of that last homestand, how disappointing that was. Was that kind of like right before the All-Star break, too, a little bit?
It had that in it. Yep.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was disappointing. I would remind them of that. You know, if you have time, you might want to show segments of film games. You got to guard your yard, as they say. And, you know, you can't allow to be inconsistent at home. With 22 games left, they need some W's. They got to play like they played tonight against teams that are healthy and teams that are above 500. Tonight against teams that are healthy and teams that are above 500. If they want to move up and stay out of that play-in situation.
You know, what I like best about this month is they have a bunch of teams in front of them. And so now you have your mark. You can make your mark by beating these teams and cementing yourself as a higher seed. So this month is really a true test for them. We have a lot of home games, but also there's a lot of tough teams that we have to play. So this is a way to tune up for the playoffs, because if you can beat these teams, you're going to be in a good position in the playoffs, and then you're already going to have that taste of blood in your mouth like a shark, and you're going to be like, okay, let's go out and let's eat.
See if the Lakers can do just that. Eat. Time to hear from Coach JJ Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
JJ, did you feel